All right, everyone, we are here to talk about Beyond the Gate Season 1, Episode 20. And similar to Episode 19, 10 out of 10, solid episode, very, very solid. Mainly due to the point that, similar to Episode 19 being one heck of a start for a new week, we have to keep in mind this particular episode was meant to be Friday's episode, hence why it just feels so amazing to have such a cliffhanger ending when Bill gets served because he's being sued and Naomi's standing there right in front of him. So, yeah, episode 20 was very solid and it really dived in to the different character ambitions and, the fact that you have the next generation kind of going against their parents' wishes. For example, like Chelsea and her mom's ambitions for the modeling career. Bill and his, Martin and his political aspirations going above and beyond what his grandparents want. Well, not necessarily what they want for Martin, but the fact that the secret you have. I mean, don't worry, I'll get more into that once we get into the review. And then with Naomi, is the reconciliation with her father not really being a thing because she is representing the three fired employees from his firm from back in the day. So, yeah, this is some very compelling stuff. And, man, it's hard to decide where I want to start because there is a lot to talk about. But as always, make sure you take a moment to hit the thumbs up button to show you like the video. Follow me on social media. Links are in the description below. Hit subscribe and hit the bell icon to select all. That way you don't miss out whenever I post content on the channel. So, let's dive in. Now, we actually start off a little bit of nostalgia here, which I talked about in episode 19. The fact that Anita takes another look, kind of like she's longing for the old days of her, musical career. And like I said in my episode 19 review, I would not be surprised if during the upcoming fundraiser that she wants to be a part of, they said they were, her and Elon, Jacob's father, were talking about, okay, well, we need a musical act. We need something that's going to draw in the people and the donors because you said you didn't want to just double, but you want to do enough to break the fundraiser record. I think Anita will either reform her old group or she'll get up there and do a song, and perform herself. And that'll be a way of bringing in more money than ever before. But it just so happens that as she's reminiscing about the good old days, her granddaughter comes in, Chelsea comes by, because she's still trying to get the courage to tell her mom that she's done with modeling. And I just love that in episode 19, you had Naomi come to speak with Anita, and now you have her other granddaughter coming to speak with her on the same subject to get courage to, stand against a parental figure. And I just love that Anita just has that relationship. It's really good. It really is good to see. But she was taken aback by the purses because at first, like, oh, this is a nice bag. Wait, you did this? So I just love to see how her face lit up when Chelsea goes into detail about how, I just started doing these doodles on the side. And then Kat took a look at them. And she, being the business savvy one, was able to make the purses into the real thing. So basically, I'm the one who comes up with the creative concepts. She's the one who puts the plans into action. And we want to start our own line. Wait, I love how Anita took a moment to realize, oh, you want to quit modeling, huh? Well, at first it was like, well, how are you going to balance, modeling and the purse line? Oh, you want to, oh. So I just love how Anita, similar to how she did with Naomi, she didn't tell Chelsea what to do. She just encouraged her. Basically, what's the saying? It's like she kind of fanned the flames in terms of, girl, you're a Dupree. And you got to think of it this way. Your grandfather and I did not love the idea of your mother moving to New York to start a modeling career. And look what she did. She paved the way for herself and just did whatever. Well, she did something we never would have expected. Kind of like with myself. You think my parents were fine with me saying that I was just going to, drop everything and start a musical career? And yet look at what I did. So you are going to be the third line of Dupree women who stepped out on her own and created a brand for yourself. And I love how Chelsea, it's just, I love seeing, well, I'm showing my age here, 33, not that old, but still, to see young people with the desire to do it, just because in my own personal life of being a content creator and whatnot and doing eBay and whatnot, I have people who I either work with or went to school with. They talk about how they're tired of, oh, I hate my job and this, that, and the third. And when they ask for advice, and I tell them, hey, here's what I did. But the thing was, I never quit. I didn't quit my job until I had, enough money stashed away. And also that my channel was bringing in enough money to cover the bare minimum, like rent, electricity, things like that. And it's a matter of a lot of people I know who have great ideas. However, they don't implement them. It's like they have, I have drafts for, this, that, and the third, or I got podcast ideas, but they never step out and do anything with it. They're just sitting there in a drawer somewhere while they're stuck in a job they don't want. But sometimes, you have to have people who are around you who can help take your ideas and put them into action and monetize those ideas. So I just love that Chelsea doesn't want to quit modeling just because this isn't my dream or I hate modeling. She wants to do it because she has something else in mind that's already, set into motion. So I love seeing the encouragement that Anita gave her and just basically said, look, well, your mom is your mom. And yeah, she's probably going to blow up, but me and your grandfather will be here to help, bring her back down to reality. So I just love the support that Anita, gives her grandchildren. All right. So over at the country club, because Anita is going over there to meet Vernon for breakfast, Danny's there. And the waiter asks if she wants her usual, which is a drink. And she's like, no, I'll take orange juice, but put a little splash of vodka in there, which leads to something funny. So she calls the girl Pam and basically thanks her again for helping cover up the thing she did over at Bill and Haley's house. However, Haley knew about it, because she just did and confronted her about it. And she does mention, like, I meant to call you, but earlier than this to, talk about what happened, but I had a muscular shoulder to cry on, essentially in reference to Andre. Now, Vernon actually comes up to the table because he's there for, again, breakfast with Anita. So they chat for a little bit. And as soon as Danny is about to get up and go, because Vernon is just excited to see Danny seemingly kind of back to normal, even the whole Bill and Haley thing. Danny is kind of coming back down to earth, and he's excited to see that with Chelsea's fashion career kind of keeping Danny in line. He's just hoping for some peace, and I feel bad for him because I can't fathom everything that he's had to deal with his family, but you could just tell he's tired. It's like if it isn't one thing, it's another. I just need to rest. Every time I think everything is good, next thing you know, another fiasco comes up. But baby girl, you've always been a wild child. And you can tell he definitely knows what to say to his little angel there. With horns, that is. So, as soon as Danny gets up saying, oh, I got a meeting for, the fashion show. And she leaves without getting her orange juice because the juice comes. And this is after Danny steps away. So then Vernon decides to take a sip. And he's like... His face said it all. And then Danny goes, oops, I forgot my orange juice. Freshly squeezed. And Vernon had that look. That ain't no damn freshly squeezed juice. Because they had that vodka in it. So now he's probably like, oh no. Because maybe he's catching on to the fact that, his baby girl might be looking for comfort at the bottom of a bottle as opposed to everything in life going smoother for her. So Anita shows up. And Vernon, is just talking about how excited he is to see that things seem to be going well for Danny. She has a new, just a new look and an energy about her. I'm just so happy because Chelsea and a fashion show, thank goodness for our grandbaby's career because that's going to keep our daughter in line. Let me stop you right there, Vernon. Huh? And obviously we know that Anita begins to tell him about the whole situation about Chelsea's new goals. So it's like, well, that's one particular grandchild situation that seems to be, well, it might lead to a little explosion, but we'll help Danny when the time comes. So yeah, we got one granddaughter with goals that she wants to set out and embark on, and she has a plan. Whereas we have another ambitious grandchild that we need to have a conversation with. And I love the fact that Vernon's look when he drank that orange juice was one thing, but Anita's face when when Vernon told her about Martin's plans to run for president, it was essentially like, oh hell no. Oh man, because they go into detail in terms of if this boy runs for the White House, all hell's gonna break loose because of that secret. And it's like what Anita thinks he's being naive, but then Vernon correctly calls out that it's just arrogance. Yes, and seriously, the fact that this guy, the fact that he believes that he has everything under control is stupid. It's like they say in this day and age, for Martin to truly believe, not only will that secret not get unearthed, but like Vernon tells him later on, you don't think your political rivals, the millions they will spend to get dirt on you, that it won't come out, man. And the thing is, I love the fact that they're not just looking at Martin, but also Martin and Smitty's children. The fact that the light shone on Martin's family, they will never be able to live it down. And the thing is, it's not just the Dupree family they're worried about, it's Martin and his family specifically. So I'll dive into that a little bit more in just a second. Now, over at Martin and Smitty's, we have Martin who is wide awake. He's not sleeping, but he's wide awake, and he's having little flashbacks to the night of the incident in question. And it definitely looked like they were, car lights or something. I couldn't tell, but either way, this was definitely the night of the incident that he's trying to keep buried, but it's coming back slowly. And Smitty checks on him, and Martin tries to, disguise it. Look, there's a new tax bill I'm working on, and it's really important, and that's why I'm just stressed out. There's nothing else going on. And then Smitty, they have a conversation, and Martin yet again tries to take control of, you mentioned how the kids are in a very transitional time in terms of getting ready to leave the house and whatnot. And that's why I don't want you to go back to reporting. He's like, no, we're not doing this. We're not doing this. Like, you said I was going to go to do one assignment, and we're not just going to put that on hold for the kids and whatnot. And remember how Martin lied to that one person who was trying to give Smitty a gig and then said Smitty wasn't, interested. So at some point, Smitty's going to find out about it. But then Martin tries to reassure him, like, look, there's something else going on here. It's like, look, it's not even an election year, and it's like you're just pushing yourself. What? It's like you're trying to, shoot for the stars by looking for a higher position or something, President. Now, Smitty gets reassurance from Martin that, look, you know what? Don't worry about it. I'm sure things are going to line up so we all can get everything we've hoped for and then some. In terms of like your career, my career, and the family, this, that, and the third. But then it's interrupted after a phone call comes through, and it's Vernon not requesting but demanding that Martin comes down for breakfast with him and Anita immediately. So he goes down to the country club, and then Smitty notices that Martin had forgotten his phone, so he rushes down there as well. And this is very telling. So as soon as Martin sits down, like, wait, is this breakfast or did I miss a funeral? And then that's when they confront him about his plans. Now, Martin feels that his grandparents are trying to stunt his career aspirations in terms of, you know what? I took everything you all taught me to heart, even more than what my parents instilled in me. And yet now you're just trying to make it seem like you don't want me to, grow anymore. And then Anita's just saying like, look, there are so many examples of people, and Vernon chimes in as well. There are so many examples of massive figures in history who have done far more good for the world than those in the position of being in the Oval Office. And they're looking at it from a realistic perspective, but Martin is just so blinded by ambition that he's being completely stupid about this. It's the fact that whatever this secret is, this guy won't even make it to the past the preliminaries if this secret comes out. But then again, I will say this, and I was going to save this for when I talk about Danny a little later, but given the real world presidential situation we're in, where we have a person who has been charged with numerous crimes and whatnot, yet still won the election, I can kind of understand why Martin is like, well, I mean, he didn't say this, but let's be real. If you look at the current guy in the White House, do you really think my secret is that much worse? Whatever. So I don't know. But I just look at it from the perspective of he needs to open his eyes in terms of you feel like Vernon keeps pointing out. It's like, what, you feel just like you're a bored congressman and now all of a sudden you want to go for the presidency because why? And he brings up the fact that apparently this situation that Martin found himself in, it was so bad that Anita wanted him to leave politics altogether. And this was like right at the beginning of his political career. I think probably when he was, about to become a congressman or whatnot. However, Vernon was like, well, the reason we didn't pull Martin out is because if we had pulled him out so abruptly, people would have been asking questions. So that's why we let him just stay in that position. So it's almost like they put a cap on his career not to draw too much attention to himself, because obviously if it did, then whatever they were hiding would come to the surface. But Martin doesn't see it that way. So in the midst of their back and forth, Smitty arrives and overhears, which I think is a good callback, because if I remember correctly, Martin was in a similar position where he was coming from around the corner and overheard Smitty talking to Nicole, his mother-in-law / Martin's mom, about his aspirations to go back into the reporting world because he was, feeling a bit cramped at home, especially dealing with the soon-to-be empty nest. So I love the parallels there. And then Smitty, goes right back to the house. So Martin says, like, you know what? I'm still going to honor you because you're my grandparents. You did so much for me, and I thought you'd be happy to learn the news, but maybe I'll let you still come over and stay in the Lincoln room after I made it to the White House. So I'm thinking to myself, this ain't going to go how you think, because they telling you, look, you think you can keep your secrets under wraps, but the people who know your secret can use that against you. They could be bought off, and you're going to be screwed. So man, oh man, this is not going to be good. So as soon as he gets home, Smitty, says, oh, looking for this? Oh, my phone, my life is in that phone. And then he's like, so, looks like I'm not the only one who's trying to, do something about their career goals and whatnot. So Martin is like, uh-oh. And that's kind of bad, because, I mean, when you really think about it, I think Nicole is the only person that Martin has told about his goals to be president, because Vernon heard it through the grapevine about, political, Martin looking for donors if he starts a campaign. And then he told Anita. So yeah, and then Smitty overheard. So yeah, Martin hasn't even had time yet to have a official confirmation of his goals there. Now, what we have next is Danny. She's having a meeting with some designers, and here's something that I want to keep in mind here, because I love how the stories are starting to parallel. Now, I talked about how Anita might be longing for the good old days of her musical career and whatnot, and how she might make a comeback at that fundraiser. Based on how these two designers were glazing Danny about her newfound fame, I would not be surprised if we don't see a resurgence of Danny's fashion career, because she became a viral sensation. Yeah, what she did was wrong, but she also has a lot of people supporting her. And and they say, yeah, and you look, fashionable as always when you did it. I would not be surprised if Chelsea, who steps away from her modeling career to pursue a fashion line and whatnot, leaves a gaping hole in Danny's heart, but come to find out, her newfound viral fame will lead to her getting back on the runway. That's an interesting setup there. So Chelsea comes in, and then Danny tells her about how she has a 3-year contract that would make Chelsea the face of a new fashion line and whatnot, but then Chelsea drops the bomb that she's done with modeling, and yikes, Danny's face says it all. Now, everything else pertaining to the episode has to do with Bill and Naomi, with a little bit of Tomas and Mike splashed in there. So Tomas comes into the office with a lot of files that are already done. Bill thanks him for being, just an overachiever, but in the best possible way, going above and beyond for his job. And Mike is in there, and Bill's like, you know what, Tomas, you did such a great job. How about you sit on this meeting? So you got Mike making a bunch of crude jokes and whatnot, but Bill shuts it down, and he identifies him as a NSFW, and then he and Tomas say in unison, not safe for work. And Mike just, I don't know, it's like he just pushes the button. So yeah, he is a partner at the firm, and you have Bill that just pretty much puts him in line, especially the moment where Mike makes a remark about Haley. So I will say this much. Mike does have a good point, but at the same time, it's like, you got to look at it from Bill's perspective. It's like, Bill, come on, man. Who are you to tell me what's appropriate and what not for the office when you're the one who got involved with one of your employees and now you're married to her despite the fact you were married? And I love how, he tries to make a comeback, but every time he just looks at Bill's stern face and realizes, like, yeah, I crossed the line because, come on, because Bill, I'm sorry, okay? I'll try to be safe for work now. It's just that whenever we interact, I always think of you as the old Bill. So, yeah, I mean, the way it just goes into how Bill was a cheater. He was a cheater, and who knows how many women he and Mike kind of scouted out when they were at the bar or something like that, even when he was married to Danny. So now seeing that Bill is he was about to say whip, or you know what, never mind, I'll excuse myself. Yeah, Bill isn't the same guy he was before, and Mike just can't accept it. But also the fact that Bill brings up, how you need to be careful, man. I'm just surprised that we got these females employees around and yet nothing has happened just yet, kind of foreshadowing. Now, it seems that based off Bill's demeanor and reaction to Mike, all the sexual harassment stuff that these three women are looking to sue the firm for, Bill didn't know about. That's my personal opinion. I don't think Bill knew. And while Mike had a point about, man, who are you to tell me about what's proper and what's not? Well, it's not his firm. So after he excused himself, he and Tomas have like a bit of a heart-to-heart where they're looking through the files, and Bill recognizes the name on one of them, and it's the fact that this is a particular case that Naomi and I used to talk about over dinner, where I, grill her and question her on, the file, and me and her would debate, and we never came to a conclusion as to who actually won. And, he pretty much opens up about how, while loving Haley, he just hates that, he sacrificed his relationship with his daughters. Like, while Chelsea, there is some hope, it definitely seems like he and Naomi, there's no potential hope for reconciliation. Like, I've tried everything. Even before the wedding, she said I'm dead to her. So it's just one of those things where I don't know what I can do in order to help out. But, Tomas, I like how he doesn't overstep bounds. Like, even when it comes to Mike, it's like, it's not my place to say what I think about Mike, but when it comes to Haley and whatnot, you say you're soft, but hey, love makes people, vulnerable and whatnot. So yeah, I think it's cool that they have a little dynamic here. Yeah, I think it's really cool. So in the midst of this, we go over to the diner, and I love how I like how the writers held nothing back with the way they are portraying these three women. And they actually came over to call off the case because, like, look, we shouldn't have come to you because we didn't think about the prospect of what this could do to, your relationship with your father. We know it's already damaged, but this could possibly be the point of no return. And from there, Naomi says, well, no, if you'll have me, I'll do it. And in terms of fee, don't worry about it. This is going to be one of those cases where I won't get paid unless we win. And trust and believe, we will win, and you'll have more than enough money than you know what to do with. Well, the ladies say, well, yeah, it's not just the money. We want justice as well, because when we do this, we want it to be loud. So nobody will have to go through this again at that particular firm. And I love that Naomi, like I said, the writers, they pulled no punches in terms of, well, look, you talk about how you're worried about me and how this could impact my relationship with my father, but you need to realize that if you do this, there has to be no stone left unturned. You have to be willing to detail every little thing that happened between you all and Mike, because it's not fair, but that's the way the system works, especially in cases like this. People, on the defensive side, they are going to scroll through your, I don't know, search history, your social media. They're going to go through everything, because even though you're a victim, if they find anything to make it seem like the way you were harassed is how you portray yourself, that's what they'll use against you. So I love that she was pretty much raw about it in terms of, if we do this, it's not going to be pretty, but we got to have all hands on deck. Now, from there, she mentions that, well, if you want to, all I got to do is make a phone call and we can have my father served right here, right now. And they're like, yeah, but, oh, can we go? Because I'd love to see the look on Mike's face when he gets served. It's like, I know you can't do that, but don't worry. And after the ladies leave the diner, that's when Naomi gets a text from her dad saying, I love you. And she has a look on her face like, oh. So then the episode ends where Haley calls Bill, and it's, I think, about a furniture purchase for their room. It's like, oh, I love you to the moon and the stars. And baby, don't worry, I gave you that black card so you can spend it. So you don't have to call me every time before you buy something. And Naomi actually comes in as she overhears Bill talking on the phone with his wife. And they have a moment there where Bill is just so, and look, the guy's a slime ball, but I do feel bad for him in terms of, his damaged relationship with his daughter, but you can completely understand why Naomi feels the way she does. It also goes back to what Tomas was saying in regards to how, I always thought your daughter, Naomi, would have started working here at the firm, kind of would have been an heir to the throne kind of situation. But Bill brings up the point that as she got older, Naomi began to see the way he practices law. And basically, it's like she doesn't understand how. It's kind of an interesting dynamic to what I was saying in episode 19 about Elon and how Jacob's father might be either a dirty cop or, looks the other way on certain cases, mainly Joey, because you go into the career world. Well, both of them are actually in law enforcement. Technically, Jacob more on the detective cop side, whereas Naomi is more on the legal side. But they have these, rose-colored glasses on about how the world works. But compared to their parents who have been in the field for longer, they have a better understanding of not everything is cookie cutter, not everything is clean. And it's like that saying, old money, like billionaires and whatnot, they didn't get to that level without some shady practices. So it stands to reason that they've seen some things, they understand how the system works. And you might start off as a good cop now, Jacob, but at some point you might get corrupted. Naomi, you might be a young up and coming attorney with your own firm, but in order to make it to the next level, you're going to have to do some things you didn't think you'd ever do. So I love that dynamic there, because Bill is understanding and knows why Naomi opted to do her own firm as opposed to work for him, because sadly, it's like she told Chelsea, he bends the law for his own means and purposes as opposed to, following them. Because we got an early indication of this during week 1 when he helped out an old friend in regards to getting his son off of robbery because he was an addict. It's like, look, I'm not going to charge you anything. I just made a phone call. Just know that, hey, you owe me a favor. I did you a favor. So I just love how we are unearthing more details about their tarnished relationship. But it's good stuff. Now, Naomi comes over and Bill is pouring his heart out to her. It's like, look, yes, Haley's my wife now. And I know things are awkward in between us, but I love you. And it's like, can you just tell me that you still love your old man? And in the midst of this, Tomas comes in. I'm actually in the middle of something. I'm sorry, boss. This can't wait. This is, we got a problem. And then that's when he gets served. And then he looks over the paper. It's like, wait, you're suing me? And then that's the end of the episode. So, folks, this was a very great episode. I can't wait to see how things unfold next. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Like and subscribe. And I'll catch you all in the next video.